Welcome to the Living Legacy Podcast, where we feature wealth experts, investors, and entrepreneurs as they share their inspiring journey to living their best life. Now, let's get started with the show.
Hey everybody, Brian Fouts here, host of the Living Legacy Podcast, where I feature top leaders across many industries. Now, this episode is brought to you by the Living Legacy Association. Now, here at Living Legacy, our mission is to empower clients with the knowledge and the strategies to achieve financial prosperity. Now, whether you're looking to save as much money on taxes as you can, maybe protect your current assets, or identify investment and investment opportunities, we help people from all walks of life, from surgeons to dentists to entrepreneurs to teachers and police officers. So if you want to learn more, go to our website at livinglegacyassociation.com or contact us at support@livinglegacyassociation.com. Now, I'm excited because I have Chad Franzen here from Rise 25, who has done thousands of interviews with successful entrepreneurs, investors, and CEOs. And we flipped the script, and he'll be interviewing me today.
Hey, Brian, thanks so much. It's great to be here. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, man.
Hey, I'm looking forward to talking with you today. The Living Legacies Association is quite interesting to me, and the reasons you started it are also quite interesting. And I'm hoping you can just kind of take us through your personal journey, and kind of where you started in your career, and then how the Living Legacy Association came to be.
Absolutely, Chad. Yeah. So I got my start back in life, like how most people did, traditional path. I come from a lower income or middle income family back then, and I was taught, go to school and get good grades. So that's what I did. Then it was, go to college and get good grades again, which I did that as well, and got massive amount of debt in college, and then got a degree and went and got a job like I was told to do. And like my employer told me, work hard and save money to your 401k. So I did exactly that. And then I was told, by, people around me, go get a house, get a wife, have a family, all these things that was the traditional path, the American dream that we've heard of. And so I did all that kind of stuff. But fast forward 10, 12 years into that journey, and I was not happy. I was, in fact, miserable. I was massively in debt. I did a little exercise where I found out my net worth, and it was negative. I had at one point lost over 50% of my portfolio, 401k, in the markets. And I realized that I was not enjoying what I was doing in life. And I had a career in construction. I was a manager, and I did not enjoy that job. It was very negative. And I realized that I had just done what everybody else around me had told me to do. And I looked internally and realized that I had no passion. I had no purpose in life. And it really kind of set me off on kind of like a journey to say, hey, what are other people doing that I'm not around? And you probably heard the term, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, or something like that. And I realized that, holy cow, for me, that was very true. And it was not a good feeling. And then at that point in time, I was wondering, how do I do this? What do I go do? And I got with my brother, and we said, hey, let's go learn about, let's choose real estate as an example. And so we just started diving in and started learning things and started, investing some money into different things here and there, and lost some money, made some money. And it was just a journey. And one of the biggest things that I realized then is that I didn't have access to the experts, to the strategies and the opportunities that like the top 5% or other people have. And so that set me off on another journey to really identify who those people are. Who are these people behind the scenes helping other people have success in life, have success, build a wealth, and really build a life they can be proud of, which is what we call legacy. And I got into some relationships with some people and started investing and learning. And eventually I quit my job to go do real estate full time. And I thought this was like, man, this is it. But I had not had that lesson learned, you can call it, on the entrepreneurial journey at that point in time. And that I had that experience. And so I got together with a partner, and we were doing some stuff in real estate. And he had another big business that he was running that ended up not working out. And it went into bankruptcy. And at that point in time, I had some assets that were being controlled by somebody else. I had given control of my money and assets to that individual, and I lost all of it. To the point where I was like, okay, 45 days and I'm going to lose my house type of a scenario. And it was a shock because I had never had that kind of experience in my life. And I was very fortunate, though, to understand that who you know is extremely powerful, both good and bad. It can be a good thing in your life and a bad thing. And so I started reaching out to other people and started really building a network at that point in time to the point where one connection, 15 days after that whole thing happened, generated $125,000 for me in revenue in one of my businesses and saved my house, saved my business, and off I went. And so that was really the start of my entrepreneurial journey was then. I had to go through the fire, I would say, to have that lesson learned that really allowed me to say, okay, man, let me sit back for a second and ask myself, why am I doing? What's my purpose? Okay, yes, I want to go build wealth, and that's all fine and dandy, but why? And I truly didn't have an answer. And because I didn't have an answer, when I went and took action on different things or different investments or look at different businesses, because I didn't have a why or a purpose, I couldn't analyze those opportunities in the right frame of mind or the right light. And so that led me to doing a lot of things that I shouldn't have been investing in or working with people that were probably not a fit. But once I understood my why, my purpose, which by the way took some time because I didn't have anybody mentoring me or helping me do this. But once I found that out is where I started to really just have joy for life and really have excitement for what I was doing. And all of a sudden things started happening because I had that inside me first. And then I started looking at different businesses and different things to help people do. And that led me to the Elevation Group, which is, or EVG for short, which is one of the first businesses I acquired. I took it over from somebody else and had a lot of fun with that business, helped a lot of people where we taught them how to invest like the ultra rich. And it was an educational based business, but still I really wasn't, I guess I would say I hadn't found that reason though, or that way I was going to make an impact in the world around. And that became sort of my next goal, because once you accomplish one goal, then what do? You set another one and you keep going. And that's part of life, is just growth. And so I realized that, okay, what's my next phase? And that's where Living Legacy Association was actually born. And it was the next sort of phase of the Elevation Group. And inside that one, we really help people that are at that place in their lives where they're maybe feeling stuck. Maybe they've had the success, they've had the business or the job that's generated the income or the money, they had success there, but they don't know what to do. They're stuck in the business. That's all they know. And that's really who I focused on. And we've made a big impact now in people's lives, because what I also realized is that if you want to make an impact in the world, how do you empower somebody else as well? So what I get a pure joy out of right now is when you impact these people's lives, what do? They impact everybody around them. Then all of a sudden you create this massive ripple effect in the world around you. And that's how I'm living my legacy right now. And leaving my legacy is by empowering other people to do the same thing.
So you talked about it took you a little bit of time to find your why. What is it, and how did you end up, finding it?
So my why, it's interesting because it changes. It's not always going to be the same thing. Mm-hmm. But right now, my why is to empower people to make an impact in their lives and the lives around them. That's really it. Now, there are different ways to do that, of course, and different results, but everybody's different. And so I have found my why. And one of the things that I love to do with my time, because time is the most valuable asset we have, is to help other people experience the same thing. And that's done through, obviously, business. It's done through living your best life. It's done through lots of other strategies that we help people do. But that's really the outcome that we all want. And the other thing that I really have focused on is control of my time, control of my life. Because as I said, I went through life being controlled. I was told to go do this. I was programmed, work hard, get good grades, and put your money into a 401k and you'll be fine. Now, these are all the things that we hear. And because we hear them, we think that they're part of what we should be doing, or we go and do those things. But I realized that that's not control and that's not living your best life. And so the other thing that I focus on in my own life is really to get control of my time. So I can do what I want when I want. Now, one of the best ways to do that, of course, is to build wealth, right? And that leads to a wealthy life.
And that's something that the Living Legacy Association can help people do?
Absolutely. That is our mission. Our mission truly is to help people live their best life and to build wealth so they can actually control their time, control their lives, be empowered, and then build their legacy. And when you have a legacy, and I don't mean legacy in the future, by the way, I mean the legacy that you can actually see, you can experience, you can actually live it today, and you're seeing an impact around you in the lives around you right now. So that truly is what we do.
So some people might hear that and they might be ingrained to think, well, building wealth, that's just not something that I'm capable of doing, or I feel like I'm not a greedy person, or money is the root of all evil, or something like that. What's your response?
Great question. So when I hear those kinds of things, here's what I do first off. This is how, when I hear that, this is what I do. I hear that, but I immediately stop it because I don't believe it. I do not believe that. And that's it. I'm done. Now, what I mean by that is like, well, what do you mean, Brian? I said, I know that that is a thought that somebody else is saying, or that I am bringing into my conscious mind, but I don't have to accept it. And so when somebody else says that, my first question is why do you believe that? Because when you were born, like Chad, when you were born, did you believe that money was the root of all evil?
No, I had no thoughts toward money.
Exactly. So that is something that is learned. So if somebody believes that, they learned it from somebody else. It's an outside influence. And the amazing thing that I've experienced on my own journey is understanding some of the thoughts or things that I believe, they're not my own. I learned them from somebody else. I can change those things. I can change my thoughts. I can change my beliefs. There's a reason why they're called limiting beliefs, because they limit you. If you think money is the root of all evil, you're not going to have money. It's not going to happen. You can't have that kind of energy or thought, because thoughts are energy. You can't have that sort of energy that's negative and have the benefit of it. It's just not going to happen. And so one of the things I've experienced with other people that I help is the change in their belief systems. Because when you believe that money is a value, money can help you make an impact in people's lives and bring joy and happiness and help other people. When you truly focus on that and believe that, that is what you're going to attract.
So in terms of getting money, obviously, people have to work hard for their money. Is that it? Is that what it takes? Just working hard?
No, it first off, it starts with the fact that you have to be able to accept money and allow it into your life. That's one of the things that a lot of people don't want to do, which is kind of strange but once again, those are the belief patterns they may have. But working hard for money is great, but providing value into the world is really where wealth is created, in my opinion. But additionally, so like if you're going to work for your money, which is trading time for money, you have to understand that if that's what you focus on, that's what you're going to continually do. And so at Living Legacy, that's fine. Yes, you're going to work for money, work hard for it. That's fine. But what do you do with that money to help it work for you? The biggest transition or belief that you can make is, I want to get my money working for me. And that's more focusing on the passive income or strategy side of things versus just working for your money, trading time for money. Because we're all taught by our education system to trade time for money. Because guess what that does? Well, that gives power to your employer, power to Wall Street, the IRS, the government. All these entities all of a sudden have your time, your most valuable asset. But once you get your money working for you, you can get your time back, which is your most valuable asset. And that's really where we help people transition.
So, a lot of people probably have had jobs. They got sick of working in corporate America. They got sick of doing whatever, working for a boss. So they started their own business, and then they worked incredibly hard for that. And now they're at this point. Is that kind of the person that you're most likely to help?
Absolutely. Yeah, that is definitely someone that we can truly help, because that's what I also did too. I went from working a corporate job to working in my business and thought, oh, this is it. But wait a second, I'm now working for myself, which is awesome. Control my time and stuff to a degree. But if I stopped doing that, then it all would not work anymore. And so I traded one job for another. And that was sort of like the second phase of my life. And then the third one was like, okay, wait a second. How do I actually get everything working for me? How do I get my business working for me? Not me working for my business. How do I get my money working for me? Not me working for my money. I started flipping the script in my head. And all of a sudden, I started seeing the results happen in my life. It was literally that simple. Flip that script. There we go. And it started happening. Now, are there mechanisms that allow that to happen fast? Yes, because it took me years to do that, because I didn't have the network. I didn't have the tools, the resources, the connections, the opportunities to do it. I had to go find them. But now we help people do that in a matter of weeks or even days sometimes versus years, because of that network, because of what we do and the experience that I've had.
Can you give me a little bit more insight into the whole concept of the network? I mean, I have like people that I'm connected with on LinkedIn. What do you mean by that network? You said you had one person who became part of your network and that completely rescued you and changed your life. What do you mean by that building that network?
So as I've gone through my life, one of the things I have realized is that who you know, relationships is invaluable. And it even seen it in my own life, I had to kind of sit back and look at it. So like I've had connections. One connection allowed me to generate $500,000 in revenue in 2 months. Just one connection out of nothing. Like before that, I could not have understood that was even possible. And so when you have the right network around you, it doesn't matter what you have going on, you can turn to that network and get value out of it. So what I mean by that is like, so I've actually gone out and looked at business strategies, models, investors, opportunities, all these things. But what I've really focused on when I'm doing this is the relationships that I have with those individuals and how do I provide them value. And so today, I have a vast network, hundreds of people from all walks of life, but they are the people that are behind the scenes, as I would call it. So I focused on really understanding who allows successful people to remain or be successful. Who is behind like the 1%, the ultra wealthy? Who's advising them? Who's helping them? Because guess what? They have teams of people behind them, teams of experts. What I focus on is building that relationship with those people behind those individuals, which allows me to do the same thing that they're doing right now. And so that is the network that I'm talking about that I have built in my own life. And we help other people do the same thing as those individuals by having access to that same network.
What percentage of people out there would you say are held back by all the good advice they got from their parents or other people who kind of told them what to do and how to think?
To be honest, it's typically going to be 99.99% of people out there. And so there's a difference though that I've experienced. And this is very interesting. When I look at my own journey and people around me, well, where did I get my experience from? Where did I get my belief systems from? Well, it was from my parents, grandparents, employers, those kinds of people. But now that I'm around different individuals, successful people who have children, what I've noticed is their children have a different belief system because their parents have a different belief system. They believe things differently. And so their kids are already set up for success. It is absolutely invaluable if you can provide that to your kids or to that next generation. And so I was just at an event here recently, and there was a 11-year-old that went on stage, an 11-year-old kid is a boy, went on stage in front of 100 individuals in this room. And this is part of the group I'm a part of. Now, you have to be a multi-7-figure net worth individual to be in this room. And here's a kid, 11 years old, in front of them speaking. He's the son of one of the people in the room, but he was articulate. He was excited. He was looking, and he had goals that most people, 99% of people, couldn't even comprehend the goals that this 11-year-old had. Like that right there. I mean, imagine having that next generation or your kids having that kind of experience in life. Are they going to be set up for success? Absolutely. Like these are the people that are the future leaders, as I view it.
Sure, absolutely. Hey, tell me about somebody, maybe a client who has benefited from working with the Living Legacy Association, maybe where they started, how they found you, and then kind of how their life is different now, if you can think of one.
Yeah, I got to think of just one. I'll use Joe I'll use Joe as his name, but I'll use Joe as an example. And this was an individual that had followed that traditional path, like I talked about, gone to school, he was a dentist and had a practice and had been working hard and had success. And now when he came into our fold, he was frustrated. He was burnt out. He was so tired of working because he'd gone to school, worked all, done the whole, 8 years of schooling or whatever it was, and got all the debt associated with it. And had a business he had started in dentistry, but he was just tired of it and he didn't know what to do. He's like, how do I escape this? I mean, I can't, he goes, I cannot literally do this for another 5 years. I cannot survive. It's just, I've had success, but I'm working 60 hours. What do I do? And so that was where he was at. And so I remember that one of the first things that I did with Joe was I kept asking him questions about, hey man, what do you do? Because I'm a dentist. I'm like, okay, that's fine. And then I started to ask him, well, what do you want to do in life? And started to try to get him to focus on where do you want to go? Then I kept asking him, what do you do? What do you do? I'm a dentist. I'm a dentist. And I said, okay, you think you're a dentist. Do you want to be a dentist? He's like, oh, No, not really. I said, okay, then stop saying you're a dentist. That's the first thing right there. Stop saying you're a dentist. Because what he wanted to be, eventually what he realized through our process is he wanted to be a business owner. He really wanted to own businesses, and that's what he wanted to do, build businesses. And so then all of a sudden I got him to start thinking about that. And fast forward 6 months, his business has almost doubled in revenue. He's pulling himself out of the business. He's working actually about a third less hours now in the business. He actually is working with a consultant to position the business for sale in ways that he didn't even know were possible. And he's looking at some other franchise opportunities with his wife. And they're looking to move in 3 years to a different location. I mean, all these things are starting to fall into place for him. And it's within 6 months.
Wow.
And his income has gone up. He actually got a bunch of money back on taxes he didn't know he could get back, tens of thousands of dollars. He's got a strategy in place right now that has set up his next generation and the next generation after that, guaranteed. So he has financial certainty around his entire life now that he never had before. He's excited. When I get on the phone with him, it's amazing because he is so just full of joy about what he's doing right now in life and where he's going. And it's not even the money side of it. Yes, he's got more money coming in. Yes, he's building a massive wealth now that he didn't have before, but he's almost more excited about the journey and where he's going and what he's going to accomplish and the impact he's going to make. And so, yeah, so that to me is one of the biggest joys I get, is helping someone like that.
Do you think that, so it all began for him when he realized not that he meant to have flaws in his thinking, but there were flaws in his thinking and there was a different way of thinking about things?
Yeah, that's a big part of it for sure. Because as an example, if you don't believe in cryptocurrency, you think it's kind of a scam, are you going to put your money into it? Well, no, that wouldn't make any sense. And so for Joe, as an example, like he never had thought about being a business owner per se and owning multiple businesses and helping other business owners scale their business. He never thought about that because he didn't have that belief. He actually had a different belief that we got rid of, or we actually, we put a new one in place. And so absolutely, so understanding those limiting beliefs is a big deal, because if you want to have more freedom of time, more freedom in your life, more wealth, you've got to understand what's limiting you right now.
Sure.
Get rid of that, because once you do that, it's like opening the door up and walking through.
Sounds great. Hey, so I know a lot of your podcast will focus on a lot of these things. Tell me about it, why you're starting it, and who do you think might enjoy listening to it?
Yeah, so the reason why I started the podcast was, one is just people kept asking about these kinds of things. Hey, Brian, what do you think about this? Or what do you think about this? And I realized, well, the easiest thing would be to actually bring those people on and share their journey, share their stories, and share my stories as well. And to really help people with these ideas that, hey, you can do this. You can actually build wealth. You can actually make a difference and build your own legacy at the same time. And so it's really to share, that message and share the messages of other entrepreneurs, other investors, other entrepreneurs who have had success. Share their journey, share their stories and their lessons learned. That's really how I've had success in my life, is by studying other people. And so this is sort of my way to help other people get those experiences with individuals that they might not otherwise have access to. And then the person that would benefit the most by listening to this is someone who, you've worked hard in life, you've had some success in life, but you're ready for that next level. And you are interested in how successful entrepreneurs, how those individuals are doing what they're doing. Why are they having success? Good times, bad times, it doesn't matter. There's opportunities everywhere out there. And if that's exciting to you, if you want to build that wealth and live that wealthy life, then this is going to be a good fit for you. Okay.
Yeah. Sounds great. Hey, Brian, it's been great to talk to you. I appreciate you having me today, and I'll certainly look forward to your future episodes.
Thanks, Chad. I appreciate it.
So long, everybody. Thanks for listening to the Living Legacy Podcast. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.